With that, we now move to one of the most important conversations that we have today, a panel discussion titled Empowering the Future, Skilling for the AI Era in the GCC. As the world accelerates into an AI-driven future, the GCC stands at a pivotal moment, investing heavily in knowledge, innovation, and human capital. Today's panel will explore how the region can prepare its workforce with the skills, mindsets, and capabilities required to thrive. From education and training to industry readiness and policy, the speakers will shed light on how we can collectively shape a future where people and technology grow hand in hand. I would now like to call upon Mr. Ahmed Alhujairy, Chairman of Arab ICT Union, to introduce the event panelists.
So I'm not going to speak, I'm only going to moderate. So I would like to invite Mr. Fahad Al-Houthi from Oman. Please join us on the panel. And Abdullah Dalan from the Ministry of Communication IT from Saudi Arabia. And Amjad from the TRA Bahrain, please. The last one was about skilling, and I think skilling is a very important topic because that's how we can build our workforce. So we have very distinguished guests from the Gulf, from the GCC, and we would like to listen to them and hear from their experiences and see where we go from there, and hopefully it will be a very informative session. I will start with Abdullah. So Abdullah, skilling is very important, and I know that the Ministry of Telecom and IT in Saudi has taken very much initiatives, and there is a focus on future skills. Why is it important? Sorry, I'm changing questions, but I think the priority has to be set first. Why do you think Saudi is focused on this? Why is it important for you as an organization to focus on this?
أول شيء السلام عليكم. Thanks for having me. I'm delighted to be here among my esteemed colleagues, and you bring a very valid question. I think from a government point of view, we look at it from a market demand, because we know that there is a gap between supply and demand in all sectors. And the gap is more critical in the ICT sector because of the nature of the sector. The technologies keep disturbing the workforce. Today it's AI, tomorrow it's quantum, and it goes on. So the government in general have realized that and launched skill accelerators accordingly. For us in MCIT, we have launched Future Skills Initiative back in 2020, where we trained more than 300,000 Saudis in multiple segments. So we train youth to prepare them to lead the future. We train job seekers, obviously, to land a job, to be innovator, to be entrepreneurs. We train employees, non-tech and tech, to leverage the use of AI and technologies. And eventually, and most importantly, we train leaders to accelerate the adoption of AI, because the decision come from their side. Now, do we do it alone? We don't. We collaborate with private sector, mega tech companies, local and then international academies like Eurostem Academy to do that.
Thank you, Abdullah. That's very enlightening. So I promised that the next question will be in Arabic. التدريب على أي شيء جديد جدا جدا مهم. ممكن احنا تكلمنا قبل المؤتمر في ناس طريقة التعلم. فشلون نشوف أهمية استخدام التكنولوجيا الحديثة في زيادة المعرفة والابتكار.
Thank you, Mr. Ahmed. Thank you, everybody. I'm thinking when I speak Arabic, Arabic content is better, because when I speak English, we can give some points, but in Arabic, we can give you more point because that's my mother language. بالنسبة للتعليم، بالنسبة للتدريب، من الحاجات اللي أنا أعملها، طبعاً أنا تاجر وشغلتي فلوس، فأسست شركة وأنا عمري 17 سنة وأنا رائد عمل وأشجع فكر ريادة الأعمال. ولكن دخلت في التدريب وأخذت 75 دورة على مدى 20 سنة، 3000 ساعة تدريب. فبال 2022 كانت عندي مبادرة لرفع مستوى التوظيف، على أساس أن التعليم لابد أن يكون الآن يتغير، وخصوصاً ال AI عامل سرعة غير طبيعية. فإحنا نعرف أن التدريب عنده 3 حاجات اللي هي التريننج والكوتشنج والمنتورنج، اللي هو التدريب والإرشاد والتوجيه. ال3 أشياء كلها مختلفة عن بعض. فالتدريب بما معناه أن أنا لما أدرب يعني أدخل ورشة عمل وأتعلم مهارة، إتقان المهارة هذه هي اللي تخليني أن أنا تكون المهارة هذه لما أتقنها تكون عادة. إذا صارت عادة معناته أن يكون المهارة اللي موجودة معايا متقنة وتقدر تفتح لي آفاق. ال AI الآن قدر يسرع لنا هذه الأمور. إذا معناته أن الطالب يفترض أنه يشتغل على نفسه خلال ال5 سنوات اللي موجودة في الجامعة. خلال ال5 سنوات هذه يشتغل على نفسه هو بنفسه. ولي الأمر يعرف نقاط الضعف، نقاط القوة مالت الطالب، أيضا الجامعة تعرف، أيضا الطالب نفسه يعرف هذه الأشياء. فإذا عرف هذه الأشياء أتوقع أن بعد 5 سنوات لما يتخرج من الجامعة يكون توظيفه أفضل من أنه لو هو ما اشتغل على نفسه. فأتوقع أن التدريب مهم في عملية إتقان المهارة.
Thank you. So I think in summary that training is very important for employability and building the future workforce, and that's what we had discussion. And again, what Akash mentioned that earlier, it's not anymore related to only training IT professional and IT experts. Amjad, how are you today?
I'm doing very well, thank you.
Yeah. So Amjad, I know that we had several discussions about the plan for training in Bahrain and how what the TRA is doing to look at the skilling as part of it, the strategy. So do you see that, do you see a role for TRA, direct role or indirect role? And please.
Yes, before I get to the role of the TRA, let me take a step back and just shed some light on why I believe skilling is a very important factor when we talk about AI. As mentioned in the opening remarks for the panel, yes, the GCC is accelerating towards an AI-driven future, right? But one thing is clear. Connectivity, advanced infrastructure, digital infrastructure, like mentioned by the gentleman in GBM, is fantastic, but it's one side of the story. Empowering people is extremely essential. And what I mean by that is if across the region, not only Bahrain, but even our neighbors in Saudi, even in the UAE and the other GCC states, we're all building some of the most advanced telecommunications, digital infrastructure in the world. But the next step is the workforce ready? Do they have the right skills? Are they confident? Do they believe in the trust frameworks that are available to allow them to extract value from this amazing technology? Ultimately, we want people to use AI responsibly and productively. And I think the right skills need to be not only taught, but driven and hard-coded in the minds of every person who uses or interacts with an AI system. So again, we're talking about inclusion, we're talking about talent, we're talking about creating an AI-ready generation that doesn't just only shape the era of AI, but also not only be consumers, but also developers. To answer your direct question in terms of the TRA's role, so as a regulator, our role is more of a neutral orchestrator. We have the advantage of being an entity that deals with different aspects across an economy. So we deal with the government, obviously. we deal with the private sector, and we deal with consumers, everyday people. So the way we've looked at AI is that it is not looked at AI skills, it is not just a technical exercise. It is more of a nation-building exercise. We need to look at programs that are nationwide, that have impact, that reach beyond training programs, like mentioned by Akash. We need to build an ecosystem. The ecosystem has to be ripe for people to develop, to create. Ultimately, there are different categories when you look at AI skills. So we need to identify them and we need to work on them. And that will only happen, like mentioned by my esteemed colleague here, collaboratively. There has to be a conscious decision to work together.
Thank you, Amjad. So, Abdullah, again, what do you see as the GCC, since now we talked about Saudi, let's cover a little bit the GCC, transitioning from digital adoption to becoming real AI capabilities so that we can become a leader in AI within the GCC?
I think I'll start where he finished in regards to collaboration. Now, we have to target skilling in AI in a very integrated way, meaning that the government, the private, the academia have to work together to approach AI. Because think about it, when the government launch and planned initiative without engaging a private sector, eventually these initiatives will be inefficient and unproductive. Same applies for academia. If they continue to supply the market with talent that lacks the practicality to get the job done in the job market, then this is a waste. So the key here is to collaborate together. Is it going to be easy? Absolutely not. Because every organization, being in the private, public, and academia, have their own objectives, they have their own priorities, but this is the way to do it.
Thank you, Abdullah. Very informative. أخوي فهد، لما نتكلم عن القطاع الخاص وأنت في القطاع الخاص، يعني شنو تشوف ضرورة استخدام الذكاء الاصطناعي في القطاع الخاص؟ هل هو خطر؟ هل هو ضرورة؟ وكيف تخطط يعني لشركتك الخاصة تكون يعني مستخدمة للاي اي؟
خليني اخبرك انا القصة كيف. القصة ان انا يعني في التجارة بديت اكتب كتب، فانا واصل للكتاب الخامس. الكتاب الخامس يتكلم عن الخيال العلمي ل 2053، فطبعا ما في كتب عربية فيها خيال علمي، فبديت ابحث. وطبعا انا بديت اشتغل مع الاي اي من ال 22 21، فعملت لي سكرتير خاص دربته 6 شهور، يعني اعطيتها كل المعلومات، كل الاشياء، كل الحاجات. فلما بديت ابحث في 2053 شفت تغيير شامل كامل عن اللي احنا نعيشه اليوم. الموضوع مش موضوع ثورة صناعية أولى ثانية ثالثة رابعة، لا، الموضوع وكأنه اكتشاف النار من جديد. فالاي اي انا شفت في بودكاست يتكلم كلام جميل جدا، يقول لك هو مثل الترين، يعني يو شود بي جامب ان ذيس ترين، انت اقفز فيه وبعدين فكر ايش ممكن تعمل، تروح للكابين في اي بي او لا. فالقطاع الخاص احنا كمثال حي بال 2025 بشهر 4 جرين موشن عمان حولنا الكاستمر سيرفيس على الاي اي مش 100% 70%، ولكن الوقت اللي كان نصرفه 3-4 ساعات في حل مشكلة الآن ياخذ 20 دقيقة 30 دقيقة. أجيب مثال أستاذ أحمد لو سمحت لي، أنا أبي أثري المحتوى العربي، وفعلا هذا الموضوع مهم لرواد الأعمال، وأنا أقدم نشر فكر رواد الأعمال والوعي. فمثلا قبل لو في زبون يتصل مع كول سنتر يرد عليه شخص خلال 15 دقائق يكون في أسئلة، وين المفتاح ضاع، وين كذا، أو وين السيارة، وين الأشياء، وين الحاجات. احنا شغلنا تأجير سيارات. فبعدها ياخذ الموافقة من المدير دقيقة دقيقتين، بعدها ياخذ الأكشن على أساس أن يحل المشكلة تنحل في ساعتين. أيضا تكلفة زيادة وتأخير، وممكن الزبون يتضايق. اليوم لما احنا الكاستمر سيرفيس على الاي اي، اتصال بالاي اي، الزبون انا مفتاحي ضاع، والله نسيته في السيارة، قفلت سيارتي، في نفس اللحظة اللي هو يعمل نيغوشيشن مع الزبون أو يتفاوض مع الزبون، في نفس اللحظة يشوف الاريا، اللايف اريا مال الفريق الاوبريشن اللي موجود، من اللي موجود أصلا في نفس الوي مال الكاستمر. فإحنا معنا مدينة مسقط، عندنا 5 ولايات محافظة مسقط وكبيرة، فممكن المشوار يكون 40 دقيقة أو ساعة، فهو يروح يشوف لك إنه أوكي إن هذا موجود، تعال شيل المفتاح مع أحمد، أنت رايح الخوير تسلمه لمحمد، محمد أصلا رايح لطريق اللي فيه الزبون، المشكلة انحلت في نص ساعة. فهذا مثال واضح إن الاي اي قاعد يسرع الأمور بطريقة يعني إحنا ما نتصورها. عادة إحنا عندنا الاستراتيجيات والتخطيط يكون 5 سنوات، 10 سنوات، 20 سنة عشان نحدد رؤية ونحدد هدف ونعمل الهدف يكون سمارت وهكذا. اليوم الاي اي اتوقع المفروض ان احنا نخطط كل 3 شهور.
شكرا جزيلا. The question was really about how AI can implement the private sector. And thank you, Fahad. So the summary, it will, of course, impact it. The impact is strong. And it will definitely change the efficiency and performance, and it's going to change the business framework as we know it today. Because of time, I will give one final opportunity to each of you, and I'll just start from Amjad. What's your final word when we talk about AI skilling, something we missed today? What's your message?
So I think for me, AI readiness starts with digital infrastructure, computing power, connectivity. But the workforce itself must understand how to use that safely. And in order for us to build value out of everything that we're putting into AI, we need to look at the entire ecosystem. And the ecosystem here, in terms of training, focuses on 3 different categories. You've got AI creators, you've got AI integrators, and you've got AI-enabled workers. With the AI creators, these are your data engineers, your machine learning experts, your AI model builders, right? On the AI integrators, these are the people who are specialized experts in their individual sectors. How do they mold AI to serve their use cases? And then finally, we've got the AI-enabled workers. These are the everyday workers. How do we get people to understand how to use AI responsibly? So if we're all talking about programs, they're fantastic, but when you look at it at an ecosystem point of view, you start to understand how do you get everything to come together. Because ultimately with AI, I think the value of it is not in the algorithms, but it's more in the people who know how to extract the value and how to use it. And that's my final comment.
Thank you, Fahad. Abdullah, maybe the same question in terms of what your final words about.
I think I'll share a reflection that we had. Now, whenever we talk about the AI, we talk about the supply and demand, we talk about bridging the gap. But we ask ourselves earlier this year, can we intervene any sooner? Or do we have to wait for students to graduate from universities to take an action? And the answer is yes. So we work with the Ministry of Education to insert AI curriculum as a mandatory curriculum in the K-12 students. And as you know, 70% of our population, Saudi Arabia, and I'm sure it's something closed in the GCC countries, under the age of 35. It doesn't include us. But this tells you how the market is going and where the focus should be invested.
Thank you. It's an amazing panel. I would like to thank them all. Thank you everybody for listening, and they will be here. Thank you.